Hello, welcome to the X. Have you ever wondered why distant objects seem to converge at a single point? Welcome to the mystery of distant convergence. It all starts with perspective, the way our eyes perceive the world around us. Imagine parallel lines stretching into the distance. They appear to meet at a point, don't they? This is what we call the vanishing point. This phenomenon, fascinating as it is, has a simple explanation rooted in the principles of perspective. Think about the last time you stood on a long, straight road and looked into the distance. Did you notice how the sides of the road seem to taper off, converging into a single point on the horizon? This is a common everyday example of distant convergence. Let's delve into this a bit more. Picture a set of railway tracks stretching out before you. The tracks run parallel to each other, right? But if you gaze down the tracks, they appear to meet at a distant point. This is another instance of the phenomenon. What about a row of streetlights or trees lining a long avenue? When you look down this avenue, the streetlights or trees, which are equidistant from each other, seem to get closer together the further they are from you, until they too appear to converge at a point in the distance. These examples illustrate the concept of distant convergence. But what's actually happening here? Well, these straight parallel lines aren't really meeting at a point in the distance. It's all about how our eyes and brain perceive depth and distance. Our eyes take in light from the world around us, and our brain interprets this information. Because our eyes are set a certain distance apart, each eye sees a slightly different view of the world. This difference, known as binocular disparity, is what gives us a sense of depth. As objects move further away from us, the angle at which light from these objects enters our eyes changes. This change in angle makes objects appear smaller and closer together the further away they are. Our brain interprets this as the objects converging at a point in the distance. So, the next time you're out and about, notice the world around you. You'll see these examples of distant convergence everywhere. But what's really happening here? What's the science behind this phenomenon? Let's dive in. The phenomenon of distant convergence is all about perspective, a concept that plays a vital role in how we perceive the world around us. Perspective is essentially a representation of three-dimensional objects on a two-dimensional surface, giving the illusion of depth and space. Now let's talk about our eyes. Our eyes are like tiny cameras, constantly capturing light from the environment. This light enters our eyes through the lens, which focuses it onto the retina, a layer at the back of the eye filled with cells that are sensitive to light. These cells convert light into electrical signals that are then sent to the brain. And here's where the magic happens. In the brain, our brain interprets these electrical signals, combining the images from both eyes to create a single three-dimensional image. This is how we perceive depth and distance. However, due to the limitations of the human eye, objects that are farther away from us appear smaller. As these objects get further and further away, they seem to converge towards a single point, usually at the horizon. This point is called the vanishing point. So, the convergence of distant objects is not magic, but a result of how our eyes perceive the world. Now that we've unraveled the mystery, let's recap what we've learned. We began by delving into the enigma of distant convergence, a phenomenon that might have intrigued you in the past. This is the curious observation that farther objects seem to meet at a single point in the distance, like train tracks converging at the horizon. We then explored everyday examples of this phenomenon, from the vanishing point in a painting to the parallel lines of a highway merging in the distance. These instances, which are more common than you might think, demonstrate the concept of distant convergence in our daily lives. Finally, we dove into the science behind the spectacle. We learned that this phenomenon is a result of the way our brains interpret visual information with the help of perspective to create a three-dimensional view of the world. Remember, the world around us is full of fascinating phenomena just waiting to be understood. So, keep observing, keep questioning, and keep learning. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned and have a nice day.